Good afternoon, Whispers, and welcome to another timely discussion on Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. I'm Sonia LeRae, lifestyle counselor, fashion psychologist, and naturopathic wellness practitioner. I'm so glad to be back in our safe zone for the time being. And, to be here in the Whisperers Lounge with you all, it's always a pleasure and an honor. Whispers, I also want you to stick around because I have several announcements that I'm going to be making towards the end of the show, but I'm also going to remind you right now that that today is our show that is before our spring break. So we'll be on spring break from April 1st through April the 10th, and we're scheduled to come back here for April 17th. So make sure that you mark your calendars and put that on your dates because there's a lot of things that are going to be transpiring. But Whisperers, before we dive into this, I need you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And also, I want you to realize that I've also put the link inside of the chat box today for our Whispers Exchange newsletter. Because we are going to be going through a lot of changes coming up, I want to make sure that you all stay connected with us because, there's a lot of changes, a lot of things coming forward, even some things that we're going to be doing differently for our broadcast and everything. So I really need you to make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter. And for right now, Podbean does have our back. They have placed the live chat box into the discussion so you can drop your questions, your comments in the chat. And this way, if you want to know something, just put it in there. And your girl monitors a great chat box. Show me some love in the chat as well. I see some of the whisperers already in here getting to it already. It's nice to have you all with me today. So, I love to start all of our discussions off with a clear meaning, and this is no different. So we're going to get the meaning or understanding of essential. Essential is something absolutely necessary or extremely important. So let me give that definition to you again. Essential, something absolutely necessary or extremely important. See, Whispers, when the mind and body are disconnected, you can feel several things. You can feel tired even when you're rested, anxious without knowing why, even reactive instead of responding, and living on autopilot, and even missing out on your own life while living it. Now, if that doesn't shake you in itself, I don't know what will. But a disconnected system keeps you functioning, but it does not help you to thrive. So, presence happens when the body feels safe enough to be here now. Remember, we had a full discussion on being present and being in the now. So, if your body feels threatened, overwhelmed, or ignored, it pulls the mind away from the necessary things. A lot of times when I have discussions like this, I am leaning into it even a little stronger because of the work that I do with my clients. And see, when we deepen the mind body connection, it allows us to regulate our nervous system. It helps us to even improve clarity and focus. And if you're following and you're listening to Whispers in a Bottle Noon Vibe Edition, we had a powerful discussion on multitasking, how that is not adding to your clarity and how it takes away from it. So, with that being said, it also makes grounded decisions when we have that clear connection and that deepens our mind and body connection. And we experience joy without urgency. We feel instead of coping, we feel instead of just coping day to day. You know, Today, our discussion is going to center around our master keys. And I've been doing it this way for the last couple of episodes because I really want our discussions to vibrate at a higher decimal that will connect to the mind, body, and soul. So, I give out master keys in all of our discussions, and I tell you all the time that the master keys allow us to open up the hallways, the corridors, and the secret compartments of our heart and our mind. But see, when they do that, they also have a powerful secondary reason for them as well. They allow us to shut out that inner and outer noise that keep us from stepping into our purpose and honoring ourselves so we can thrive instead of just surviving. So listen, we're going to focus on 3 master keys today. So if you want to take some notes, please do so. So our first master key that we're going to really lean into is reclaiming body awareness as your anchor to now. Now, see, there's that word again, awareness. We seem to have to call that into our space and place when we are pivoting, changing, shifting, and moving the dialogue in our heart and our minds. So, presence begins with awareness, but not mental awareness. So, what kind of awareness does that mean? It means that it has to be somatic awareness. So, let me explain a little what somatic awareness is, and then we'll get into how your body communicates through it. So, literally, somatic awareness is the mindful or intentional focus on your physical sensations within your body. Um, Even recognizing how your mind, your emotions, and experiences manifest as bodily feelings. So, literally, your body is constantly communicating through your sensations, the tension, the breath work, your temperature, your posture, and even your energy. So, this way, you really understand how deep, somatic awareness really is. And most people override these signals in the name of productivity or, I have to get this done. But deepening the mind body connection, it actually means relearning how to notice without fixing. And now, you know that I tell you in a lot of our discussions, and even when I'm working inside of the agency with my clients, it's constantly reframing it. So it's not that we are fixing, we are taking notice of it. So we become cognizant of certain things that are happening inside of our body. So, how would that look like if you practiced it on a daily or in this area in your life? It would mean that you would actually start by, here we go, asking those introspective questions. So, introspective questions that you would have to ask yourself are where am I holding tension right now? Notice where. Where am I holding tension right now? Is my breath shallow or full? Is my breath shallow or full? Is my body braced or is it open? But see, you're asking yourself, you're tapping into a deeper space and place of self awareness, that somatic awareness. See, this awareness brings you back into the present because the body cannot lie about what is happening to it right then and there. And I love that. I love that. I love working in that space, even. But why would this even matter to us? Like, what you're probably saying, well, what does that really, how does it benefit me, Sonia? Well, when you ignore your body cues, you actually begin to really have a negative that starts to develop. And that means that your stress accumulates silently. And it's funny because people say silently, but we know stress has definite tells. Stress is like, hey, look, I'm here. And it could even be from your, you know, stomach feeling, that gut feeling of like having pain in your stomach. Some people with the stress, their hair is falling out. They can't sleep. So it's not silent. Oh, by far, it's not silent. And then your emotional overwhelm shows up at unopportune times. Burnout feels sudden, but it wasn't. It wasn't like it was just, oh, like this just popped up on me. No, sorry, hate to tell you, it wasn't. It was already there. It was already kind of stacking up and accumulating and about to just bust free. Because awareness is not about judgment, whispers. It's about information. And sometimes we have to be willing to listen to our bodies. Mind body connection is essential to thriving. That's what this episode is about. See, I thought I would even give you, each of these master keys, but I also want to give you some other secondary things inside of them as well. So, reclaiming body awareness. I want you to try this for just 1 minute, at least 3 times in your day. And if you can commit to it at first, or you feel like you can't commit to it at first, just doing it once a day, I'd appreciate it. And even your body would appreciate it. So I'm going to take you through this little exercise. And if you want to come back and pick this up again, this is at the 11:14 marker. Okay. So I want you to pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling in my body right now? Do I feel tension? Do I feel heaviness? What does my body need in this moment? Does it need a moment to reset? Do I need to be aware of my breathing? Am I shallow breathing, or do I need to take a moment and give myself time to breathe deep within my nose, exhaling out of my mouth all of the anxieties or the stress? Does my body need nourishment? Have I skipped breakfast? Did I skip lunch? Am I burning both ends of the candle because I haven't even nourished myself? But whispers, see, in that space and place, do not correct. No action is required. It's just awareness that you are dealing with in that space. But why? This retrains our system to stay present instead of disassociating constantly. And this can technically, it can and it will be a powerful exercise for you to engage in, because what happens is it makes you really aware of yourself. It makes you aware of the feelings, the tension, or how you are neglecting oneself. Now, it's funny because we may be aware of other people. We may be aware of our employees, our family members, our good friends, but then you are on the back burner and the water is low in the pot and it's about to scorch. And that is you, your mind body connection. But you realize, with that being said, whispers, we'd have to have a second master key that is just as powerful as the first. And that second master key has to be regulating the nervous system to create safety in the present. Regulating the nervous system to create safety in the present. So you cannot be present if your nervous system is on the survival mode. And we learned that in a prior discussion as well. That's that fight or flight mode constantly being present. It's always in the high level. The stress levels are so high, you're almost ready to implode. So presence requires safety. And when your nervous system is dysregulated, the mind scans for threats, the body braces itself. It's just waiting for the impact or the shoe to fall. And even time collapses. And you are just kind of trying to figure out everything. You feel rushed, you're reactive, you're numb, you're just in that space and place, and it's just hectic. But whispers, deepening the mind body connection means learning how to downshift the nervous system intentionally. Now, I tell you all the time I love cars. I'm a car person. I can drive a little bit of anything. And so when it said downshift, right, I always think about a stick shift. So if you can't drive a stick shift, this may not make sense to you, but those of you that know about this, it will make total sense to you. So let's say you're going along in your car and you have a stick shift, and all of a sudden it starts to, you're like maybe doing 50. And all of a sudden the traffic starts to slow up and everything, but you can't stay at that pace. So it requires, because the speed is dropping, you have to downshift. So you're in fourth gear, you got to downshift to third. Then once you downshift to third, lo and behold, you're slowing down even more. You have to downshift into second, which allows you now to have a good pace on your car, and you're not actually having the engine be in distress. It's the same thing when we have to downshift our nervous system intentionally because it's on purpose. See, this would require that you understand the patterns. And so many times we're not aware of it because we're so, oblivious, because we're doing everything around us that we miss the patterns. See, Whispers, most people live in one of three status, and that is hypervigilancy. That's that anxious, overthinking relentlessness, or that hyper aggressive vigilancy, which is that numbing, disconnect, checked out. And then there's the functional freeze, you know, productive but emotionally absent. Hmm. Presence lives in regulation. So it would require that you be willing to practice restorative regulation, which means you'd have to be willing to do three things. Now, Whispers, this is the funny thing. My co-pilot is in here meowing at me. So if you hear him, he's just kind of begging to be heard today. So it requires three things. It means that you have to breathe as a signal of safety. That means that we're going to slowly take our breaths. We're going to take deep, deep inhales, and we're going to exhale with intention. Because as we do that exhale with intention, it tells the nervous system there is no immediate threat. So the second thing that we would have to do is grounding through sensation. So you would have to feel your feet, your seat, your hands, your physical contact anchors you to now. Feel your feet, feel the seat, feel your hands. It's the sensation that you're feeling. It's giving you physical contact that is anchoring you. And we know when something is anchored, that means that it has dug down into the soil that it cannot move. Look at these huge ships that are out here sailing. When they cast anchor, that ship is not going anywhere. It is sitting in the middle of the ocean. And it's able to do that because it has cast its anchor that has gone deep down into the sands or the depths of the ocean and hooked in. So when they are drawing that anchor up, it takes time for it because it has to disengage from that soil. And it's the same that we are doing. But it also means that we have to do the third thing: rhythm over force. So gentle movements, walking, stretching. Tai Chi is so ironic because I was just talking to a business associate today regarding Tai Chi and how it allows us to reset our body, unbeknownst that we were going to even be talking about it today in this discussion. But these are things that help us to reset our mind, to reset our nervous system, that the mind body connection becomes essential to thriving. See, these are signals of safety and more effectively than forcing stillness. Now, why are these three essentials to thriving? Well, it's because they allow us to be regulated. They regulate your thoughts slowly and naturally. The decision making improves. Your emotional responses actually become softer. They're not reactive and sharp. And your presence becomes effortlessly. It has that effortless kind of move to it. You don't have to try to be present. Your body allows you to be present. It allows you that ebb and flow. And we learned all about ebb and flow a couple of years back. So this leads into our third and final master key. Our third master key is embodied living, moving from thinking life to experiencing life. Now, let me just tell you something. This is like, if this was a good song, this is my jam. Because literally, you can think all day long. But when you get to experience things, oh, that's a whole nother level. See, Whispers, many people live from the neck up. Oh, yes, the neck up. See, most think about life. They plan life and they narrate life, but they don't experience it. And I'm a firm believer of experiencing life. See, embodied living means allowing sensations, emotions, awareness to coexist without rushing past them. And let me tell you something. I have lived across this map and back again as a young person, as an adult. And I have to tell you, being present is something that is just, everything. And being able to experience life is dynamic. I think I tell people all the time that experiencing life for me is one of the highest of highs. I love it. I am present in each and every moment that I experience, from the things that my eyes see to taking pictures, mental photographs of things. My mom passed away literally 5 years ago on the 19th of March. And I literally have such beautiful captured pictures of that woman, of moments in that life. I was living life. I'm living life now. It has aim, purpose, and direction that is so beautiful, Whisperers. See, embodied living means allowing sensations to coexist. That means that our sensations of happiness, sadness, joy, pleasure, excitement get to marry into that bowl and make a delicious pot of stew. So when you embody presence, it starts looking like eating without distractions, listening without planning a response, feeling emotions without suppressing or dramatizing them constantly, being able to be excited about small things that are captivating in its essence, moving with intention instead of urgency. Mind body connection is essential to thriving. Whispers, presence becomes something you live, something you experience daily, not something you practice once every blue moon or on an occasion. So, what is the shift that changes everything? I'm going to tell you, it's simple. It's a simple practice of, instead of asking yourself, what should I do next? It means that you have to be willing to ask yourself, how am I experiencing this moment? See, that question returns you to the body immediately. Because, see, it makes you have to take notice of things. It requires rewiring your brain from thinking life is just just passing by, fleeting, to where life is an experience. It's an excursion. Are you living life or are you just here? Are you just here? See, many people are just here. And if the plan that they have that they've worked out doesn't really look like what it should be, or it's not going in the pattern that they think, oh, it's just not. Ugh, it's dreadful. But that's not the case. That's truly not the case. See, it requires things of us. It requires action on our part. So why does this create thriving when we are in that presence and we are aware of things? See, thriving is not doing more, whispers. And so really catch that. Really understand what I am saying. Thriving is not doing more. It's being fully aware of you and where you are in the now. So, whispers, embodiment allows you to even have deeper relationships. I mean, you don't even realize how shifting that really could be. It has deeper relationships that you are connecting in a different space and place. You are no longer having these superficial connections that really are not doing anything for you or helping you to make those connections that keep you in the essentials to thriving. It helps you to have authentic boundaries, not superficial ones that are really just ridiculous, but authentic, real boundaries, boundaries that allow you to be present, not to feel guilty, not to feel sorry for telling a person no or standing up in that space and place of giving yourself dignity and respect. It's that emotional clarity. It's joy without performance. Is joy without performance. And so many people are performing. They're pretending to be happy. They're pretending. They're constantly with the little mask up. And many of you all have seen that commercial where the person is walking through life and they have the little mask up that is the happy, smiley face, but behind it, they are sad. They are depleted. They are feeling just out of things. Their mind body connection is not thriving. It is not essential. It is not bringing in the wealth of being in the now. Ooh, I don't know how you all feel hearing this, but it's exciting for me. And I feel like today when we're going out on our spring break, to have a discussion like this is powerful because literally mind body connection is so imperative for everything that we do. And even coming into a space like Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays requires that I have mind body connection. So it's essential to thriving for our community. It is essential to it. So, Whispers, life stops feeling rushed and it starts feeling rich when we're in that space. You see, this has been a very important discussion today. It is really the mind body connection which is essential to everything that we do in our life. That's why I work with clients in totality. And you all hear me say that constantly, but what does that look like? What does it sound like? I tell you every week I'm a lifestyle counselor, fashion psychologist, and naturopathic wellness practitioner. I'm dealing with you mind, body, soul, wardrobe, totality. I am helping C-suite executives, high-level entrepreneurs, and elite performers to really make sure that they are able to be thriving in the spaces and places that they say they want to be present in. But how are you doing that for yourself? Are you struggling? Are you not aware because you haven't taken the time to really sit in that space and place of introspection? Or do you need help from one of the best in the industry? I always tell you my calendar is open to you. And you can DM me over on Instagram, even at whispersinabottle_podcast. And that's your first step into having that consultation, having that strategy session with me. See, Whisperers, these discussions are timely. And where we are living in this stage in our lives and everything that's happening in the world, it requires that we really start being cognizant of certain elements in our life. So we can start that mind body connection to have the essentialities to thriving in our day to day lives, our moment to moment, our second to second, and empowering the ones that are connected, or better yet, those that are in the legacy line. And see, that's where your mind has to go to. Your mind has to go to the legacy line. Because when we are present in that way, it helps us to show up. It helps us to shift. It helps us to close out or shut off that inner and outer noise that keep us from stepping in, stepping over, connecting mind-body connection and essentialities for our thriving of our life for here on out. Woo! I tell you, that's a beautiful way to say we're going to end our session today. Because I tell you, sometimes these discussions are so powerful that you just have to kind of laugh and you got to kind of be in that second for a moment because it is just that dynamic. And Whisperers, I always tell you how much I appreciate you spending your life seconds with me. And I have to tell you, in this day and age, and especially with everything that's happening inside of our show and the different things, I'll tell you that I am not one that likes to conform. And I'm not a person that does that very well. And I don't like to feel that I'm being forced to do certain things. But one thing I always will do is look out for our community. So we have some major changes that are coming up because, as I told you, Podbean had announced to us that starting May 18th, we no longer will be able to do our shows live. We're no longer going to be able to live stream because they have decided, even though we are paying customers not to really speak to us in a way to see if this would be a benefit or would it be an adversity to us. They did not do that. They did this on their accord of feeling that it was a good decision for their company, their business that we are into as well. So in turn, what happens is coming May 18th, we will no longer have the access to do live shows like this. So our last live show where you'll be able to come in here and be in the chat and drop your comments, show us some love, all this other stuff. Our last show will be literally April the 25th. And so then from that point forward, and like I said, it's essential that you really follow and you subscribe to the Whispers Exchange because we have some new broadcasting notes that we're going to be sharing inside of the Whispers Exchange for you all. The show is still going to be Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but there's major changes coming to it, as I stated before. So don't forget that we are going on our spring hiatus. It's an intentional hiatus, by the way, because we are working to get things done and to shift certain things inside of the agency as well as the podcast and all. so we can show up and be present for you all. And I always tell you all to please make sure you're following us on Instagram at whispers in a bottle underscore podcast, and make sure that if you have questions or you really are looking into certain things or need to know something about whispers in a bottle, you can always email at info at whispersinabottlepodcast.com. So info at whispersinabottlepodcast.com, and we will definitely respond to you. And you can always hit that reply to each and every one of our newsletters, and we'll reply to you as well. So let me just say this in closing too, Whispers. You know, like I said, today's discussion was very powerful. And the mind body connection is literally not a luxury. It isn't. It's a real necessity. And presence is not like found by escaping the body, it's found by returning to it. And you may not understand that right now, but really give that thought and let it vibrate at a higher decimal for you to receive it. Because when you deepen that connection, you stop abandoning yourself, you stop living ahead of your life, you stop surviving and start inhabiting, or, yeah, and your body is really like waiting for you to listen to it. It sends out different signals. It pings every so often. And because you may not be accustomed to listening to your body, you may not actually know what the ping or what it says or feels until you take that moment to really sit in that space to listen. And when you do, literally presence becomes like natural for you. And each moment becomes enough, and thriving becomes your baseline, your baseline. So I want to give you just a little homework before I close out, too. I want you to reflect and ponder on these two questions. And if you need to come back to get these questions, let's put this at the 3728 marker. Okay? That's at 3728. So I gave you two markers today. So the first question is this: where in your life are you living in your head instead of your body? Where in your life are you living in your head instead of your body? And what would change if you allowed yourself to fully arrive? Ooh, did you hear it? What would you or what would change if you allowed yourself to fully arrive? Now, those are two powerful questions. Sit with them for a second. I hope that you subscribe to the newsletter, because I actually did a beautiful journal for you all with great cover to it, and it's deepening the mind body connection. It's a companion journal worksheet, and it's simple, but it's really beautiful, and it asks some great things: arriving in the body, the awareness, allowing yourself to be present, how it works for you, and all. So if you didn't receive it, make sure that you subscribe. Send me a DM, and we will make sure that we even get it to you and send you even a copy of it. So this way you'll have it for reference as well. So with that being said, Whisperers, don't forget that we will be on spring break from April 1st through the 10th, and we will be right back here in our home platform of Podbean on April 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you've been listening to Whispers in a Bottle, Grow and Talk Cocktail Fridays, a clear voice amongst the noise. My name is Sonia LeRae. I'm a lifestyle counselor, fashion psychologist, and naturopathic wellness practitioner, but I'm always honored to say that I am your host. All right, guys, have a beautiful weekend. Be safe and take a little time to do the homework. You'll thank yourself in the long run. Take care.